One thing I am concerned about setting here with where the mics are is that I feel like this whole mic stand is in front of my face.
It is. It's
Um,
visible in the camera.
yeah, I never want it to be like way in the way. Now earlier it wasn't too bad, and I really think if I set up in something like this where it's here, then I'll be okay. So
You'll be fine. Well, and to be clear, it's not in our way. I don't feel like I didn't feel it was in my way until I had to move the chair up.
right,
But I mean, I could see it being. You see a lot of them, and they're from the back, like the people pull them from the back and do it, and then pull it out of the way, and then maneuver their stuff around the podcast. This isn't terrible though, but
no, well,
at the same time, you're starting out. These are little tidbits. No two podcasting offices are the same. There's going to be things you lean towards that, and it's not the wrong way. It's just what's best for you.
this is the only time I've ever used a clip-on option for these. So the other one has a base so this little piece comes off and it just slides down inside of the clip-on piece.
Okay.
It has another base that it can slide into that screws in. So I could literally just right to the wall and then and leave them there. Just so, like I have hammock hangers right here
Right.
that I can hang my hammock. You don't even notice them when you're not using it.
Right.
And so you wouldn't even notice. I mean, there'd be 2-inch black circles on the wall. And then when I wanted to record a podcast, I would put them in, tighten them down.
There you go.
So
Yep.
we'll play around with it. Or also I thought about clipping it to the chair. I can clip them even to like the bottom of the chair or something so that they would come out and then maybe be like more just the microphone, well, turned at a, 90 right in front
Do
of
you
us.
have any frame of reference? I'm sure there's YouTube channels that would explain the best positioning for them.
Yeah, probably. This has been like 4 months in the process to get here.
As I said, something not to get too worried about.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, the fact that you are here, the fact that little knick-knack stuff like the placement of your microphones is now a concern
That's
versus,
How am I?
recording of video and audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, take the big victories, worry about the little stuff after.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna try and do. I don't know. I'm gonna keep messing with it, keep figuring it out. I like my phone on here, but it looked like the GoPro did really well too, especially once I cut it and zoomed it in. I was pretty happy with that also.
Well, and that's a great example, too, of having multiple great options means that you're not handicapped if the option you like. It always sucks to have 2 or 3 options, 2 of them suck, one's great. If you have 2 great options, it's not very upsetting if one of them fails and you have to use the other.
Very true.
Yep.
I think I'm also going to probably get a good camcorder. Well, not like a top of the line one or anything, but something pretty decent, so that it can have the job. But we'll see.
Yeah, all I can say is top of the line, pretty decent. In my experience, all the pricing for that is too much.
Yeah. Well, so the number one vlogging one that I can find, which doesn't seem to have any time limits on it, is a Canon G7X Mark II. I think.
0.5,
I don't-
908,
Yeah,
Z12.
I don't know. I don't know what else it has, but I think that those are all the letters and initials and Roman numerals and stuff in it. But it seems to be the most common one. Then there's some other ones that they do make that you can do photography and videography with. So like my photography camera, between my lenses and my camera, I have like $1,000 in that thing.
Okay.
So if I can get, say, a $1,300 camera that can do video and photography, and I can trade mine in and get some money back out of the thing,
Right.
then
Pretty
I'm not
standard
then I'm
stuff.
not hurting too bad.
Not at all.
Because I already have one camera that I like doing pictures and photography with.
Well, and I know that you're trying to keep this as neutral as possible, the what if of money, the what if of a business from it. But to do it well, you need the right stuff. And you
Yeah.
know as well as I do. I mean, I need a good mower to mow. You need a good trucks to do drunk. You need good cameras to podcast and video stream.
Well, and I think even if there's not necessarily a business or revenue stream from podcasting, there's going to be one from knowing how video equipment works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if nothing else, rather than just a hobby. But
Yeah, but at the same time, what you're trying to do, centralizing it towards business and centralizing it towards the communication of it, that has value as well. You're going to need to project that meaning through your equipment.
Yeah.
And that meaning is the sole point of you doing this. If you can't accomplish that goal, then I mean you're not doing as well as you want.
Right.
So I get it. And the nice thing about a passion project is damn the cost. That's not necessarily a good mentality, but I mean I got a mutual colleague of ours, Adam Whaley. His father-in-law's in racing. He does it as a hobby. Puts all kinds of money in it. Nothing he can't afford, but all
Most
kinds.
racers do.
Yeah, and most racers aren't doing it for profit.
No.
None of them are doing it for profit.
But the thing is if they didn't have that, then they wouldn't make it through the Monday through Friday.
Right. It's their that's exactly right. That's why they work.
Right.
And that's important. Like I got a big trip coming in Japan that has to go phenomenal. Like it has to be going to Disneyland for the first time, but everyone's scared of giant lizards. It needs to be world-shatteringly awesome. Now, it's very possible I'm setting my expectations too high, but I have worked very hard this year for this trip.
I know,
And-
because you've talked about it since last winter.
Yes.
And I was a part of your like decision making process, and in the beginning, like I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to go this winter, and
Yeah, exactly. And I have traveled the world and I have loved every minute of it, but that was when I was young and in college and stupid and not realizing the pressures and expectations and requirements to live in the world outside of those isolationistic compounds. And when those hit, your value system changes exponentially. I don't have kids nor a significant other right now to help either drive me to leave them because they drive me nuts, or drive me to stay because I love them very much, or either or. But traveling the world is something that I think I will really get in behind, and it can push me to work harder to do more traveling of the world. So, just like this, you've gone through 4, 6, 8 months, better part of a year, pushing through this goal of...
yes, I started in like February of trying to get this done. What is it? It's August.
Yes.
I've been working on this for 6 months. You asked me earlier how many hours I have in this, and I said, dude, it's been months. It's been 6 months. That's
Yeah.
It's been 6 months.
Exactly. So if you can't get this message out because of a $1,300 camera, that's small potatoes.
Yeah.
That's nothing.
Except when I should be able to get like 700 or 800 out of mine with the lenses and stuff.
Exactly.
Because the lenses hold their value because they're universal
and
with so many cameras.
That's one of the best parts about entrepreneurship is it applies to anything. You can be an entrepreneur without ever making a dime. All you have to do is look at your resources and see what you can do. And if you have something that really pushes you passionate-wise, or pushes you, my God, hating something is a great value. There's things, I hate mowing certain yards, but you know that money that will get me an extra night in my hotel. Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta let her in.
This is a pet owner showing you who's really in charge. Goovers.
Yeah, I think the Thunder's messing with her. They don't like the stuff. The thunder.
Lightning.
Thunder, lightning, the storms. Which it looks like we do have another storm coming in.
Yeah, and they said rolling thunderstorms. And see, all of a sudden, you see the versatility of this? Now we are a weather podcast.
What?
Yeah.
I really just want to have fun with this, and I want to use this to stay more connected with friends of mine. I want to use this to learn about acquaintances of mine. I want to use this to learn about local resources that are in this community.
Yeah, it provides the excuse to stay in touch by giving an actual meaning behind it.
Right. And record our conversations, and with the purpose of, we're trying to share, or I want to share people's story. And I don't know. I just think that the positives of wanting to help people reach other people, inspire others, be inspired, find what they need, or just connect better with your neighbors.
It is so easy to lose sight of the value of all of those. It really is. Facebook, Twitter is a hate-induced system. I really believe that. I did it for a month, and no one really criticized me, but I didn't publish a lot of stuff, but I followed things. But by following things, I had people post hate because I hit a follow button. I didn't even follow any one thing. It's like, oh, this guy sounds cool. I'll follow him. Had some pretty cool articles because I did that. Hate right there. Looking through all that, whenever we reminisce or we are having a bad thing, photos and old family videos, the old VHS tapes. For you millennial generation and you Y generation, there will be an explanatory thing of what VHS was. But anyway, those make you feel great because you remember those good times. 50 years from now, if you have a great-great-grandson, what was great-great-grandpa like? And you pull up this.
Maybe if they can play it.
Yeah, well, maybe they can, maybe they can't, but the possibility's there. You're having a bad day and you're trying to remember why you're doing something for your son, you can pull this kind of stuff up just in a trial basis. It's like, oh, this is me talking to my tall friend Charlie.
Well, and I think that, I don't know, people are scared of cameras and microphones and stuff like that. Well, but that's where kind of the future's heading. If you take a 12-year-old kid and they'll hop up here before an adult will.
Yeah, and have a much better understanding.
They want a YouTube channel. Yeah. Blaine, he's 5. He asked me, he's like, Dad, can we have a YouTube channel? Because he sees Dad and kids and stuff playing all the time. And it's like, man, I would like to be able to help you with that. Like, if that's something you really want to do, like, when you're older.
Yeah.
And I think that it really opens up the world of possibilities. And I've talked to you about some of the business ideas that I have. And I think that being able to capture people's story and share that is the business of the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'm in full agreement. Automation's coming to a degree we've never seen. Manufacturing, trade jobs, even creative content. They are actually putting algorithms and generative technologies to creative thinking. What is defining our own limitations as people, or what was defined as the limitations of machine and automation, is no longer relevant. You're going to need something to identify you as you, other than another face in the crowd that can be replaced by another machine in the corporate world.
Well, and also to bring, automation. I even see a sooner problem, like something I was just reading yesterday that Mark Cuban shared out. He shared a link, and this guy talks about how there's less money in the stock market than there was in the 90s. There's per capita less than there was in the 70s. That there's less and less companies going towards stock market funding, right? Because it's better to stay private, and then you usually sell out to one of the big guys in your industry or whatever.
Right.
And then you get to keep the money, not share it with stockholders and so on and so forth.
Right. The division's much higher.
So it's getting where companies, and we've all seen this, that there's giant companies out there that are doing, well, irresponsible on a grand scale. They're being irresponsible with the company's resources and economics and so on and so forth.
Usually.
When you get so big, it's a negative on everything else, right? So I want to empower the entrepreneurs, the individuals. I want to make them as powerful as the next person. If there's somebody in Farmington, per se, that knows, say, video editing. Right now I need somebody to help with this, right? I should be able to log on to that website, find somebody that does it, and pay them right there. And if it's a kid that's at the high school for the TV program and he knows how to use the microphones, he or she knows how to use the tripods and cameras, why couldn't a 16-year-old kid be the one that helps?
Right.
Why couldn't maybe a high school or a high school graduate that's 18 maybe transitioning to Mac Why can't they do it?
Yeah, a Mac student who has a project in editing, and this could be their project.
Right. So to me, being able to empower those individuals and tell their stories and use the podcasting and use social media, that's what I want to do.
Right, and I don't blame you, especially when you have podcasting is new, but it's been around for a while. Most people know it. Most people listen to a podcast, at least from the millennial to Y generation. And it's one of those things where it's kind of like a fire's happening. There's a fire hydrant and a hose. Why aren't you putting out the fire? You have everything you need, just like this situation. We have everything we need to ensure that this kind of communication is possible, but it doesn't take place. Even when you consider light speed travel across Facebook, your phone, whatever, it still isn't happening. You go to a big corporation, get put on a waiting list, pay way too much money when you have someone down the street that you don't even consider because you're not in contact with them.
Well, you don't even know if they can or can't do it.
Yeah, and the best thing about that is that when it comes to that kind of interpersonal nature, you can go to that person and see their work. Either it will fit or it won't fit. I remember I did a Christmas present for my dad in 2014. My dad really likes older things like saws and stuff, old barn saws. It's just kind of an aesthetic he has. And I was trying to find someone to paint the saw with our farm on it. And I went through several artists trying to find someone, most of them local, but I even looked at big budget people. The price ranged between $300 and like $30,000, depending on who you found. But it took me months to put this together. Finding the saw wasn't the problem. But anyway, I found a 14-year-old girl at Farmington High School. Or Farmington Middle School, in Farmington. But I saw her work. It was a little different than what the aesthetic I was going for, but I didn't think my dad would care. We've had the saw hanging ever since.
How'd you find her?
Through people. It just took a long time. I had to. I found her through a customer, and then they responded to her. I actually never met the girl, but they showed me some of her work, and I was like, you know what, this will work. Let's do it. $300 to her. 14, put that to a new car.
Yeah.
Shoot, a dress, whatever she wanted, a college fund.
Right, but that's what I mean. Like, that's the thing is, why couldn't you hire a 14-year-old to do that on a per-project basis? She's got the time frame. You're not interfering with her schoolwork, her Saturday, nothing.
Yeah, something she'd do anyway.
Right, that's what I mean. It's developing her art career is probably what she's going to be. I mean, at 14, if she's making $300 to design a saw, she should probably offer that service.
I think so.
You know what I mean? A few times, but there's no platform on how to do that. And so this is what I'm talking about, Charlie. If you can picture this, where Charlie's Mowing Service has a page, and you have a profile page, and customers can go to the website, and they can simply post publicly like a Facebook wall. But it goes to every search that they need their yard mowed. You can get on there as a mowing service or a individual who's willing to mow grass for money, right? You can get on there and search or even receive a notification that, hey, within Farmington geographical area that you set, there's a mowing job that needs done this week. Notification on your phone. Yeah, let's look at that. Sure, I'll do it. You agree right there. And you can now two-way communicate, schedule it. They can pay whatever the case would be. Same with that girl. She can offer art service, and people could get on there, search for it. They could watch a podcast with her for 30 minutes explaining why she does it, where she got talent from, who's her teacher, how she helps, what does she do with the money.
Right.
Well, man, if you could see that, see a few experiences or past work, you're in.
Yep.
You know, or not, but you're going to know whether this is the right person for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to know really, really quick.
Fully agree.
You know, and if you give somebody a 5-minute review with their podcast, or, you know, with a few minutes of watching a podcast with them, that's what I want to build.
That's awesome.
That's what I want to do. So, yeah.
Damn.
And everybody has had a need for that at some point or another. They just haven't there's not a solution for it.
Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting amalgamation of you've got HomeAdvisor.com, you've got Facebook Buy Sell Trade, but this lets you do more than when you go to those things. You're searching forever. This lets you go there and find someone very well, and you always compare this to the phone book.
Yeah. It's what the phone book should have been.
Yeah,
See,
exactly.
I hate, like, places like Toys R Us, and this isn't my idea. This is another one from Gary Vaynerchuk. But I don't understand why Toys R Us went out of business. They had every child in the country come to their store and dream about coming to their store. Then those kids grew up to be adults, and we got to take our kids to Toys R Us. And the fact that they didn't hold on to our attention and our buying habits is ridiculous to me. Toys R Us shouldn't be a warehouse where you go to and you see, a 30-foot tall shelf of Legos, and once you see the one set of Legos, there's 30 of that set deep. So 30 kids can come in here today and buy that Lego set,
Right.
and everything's fine. Or, they don't run out. What they should have, stop inviting people to a warehouse. Invite them to a play spot. Empty out the shelves. They should have closed Toys R Us down, removed all of the shelving, made it a giant play. You had a Lego section, you got a Nerf section, you got this section, you got that section. Go play with the Nerf guns. Go play with the Legos. Go build this. Go do that. And then have it for sale.
Yeah. And
It'll be in your house in 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. You literally have it set up to where Toys R Us could have literally used Amazon as a platform for
Well,
their
they did
sales.
use Amazon, and that's one of the reasons why they didn't do anything online. Toys R Us seen zero value in online sales.
And that's what killed them. Amazon now, if there's any toys available, my God, and how easy it would have been to retrofit every single Toys R Us into that design you just said. But I mean, in hindsight's 2020. Neither one of us are marketing experts in the toy industry, but no one wasn't shocked at Toys R Us going bankrupt.
Well, I think you have to be creative, and just like newspapers right now, I don't understand why newspapers are struggling. I think that they have a bigger opportunity right now than they ever have had, because all we have right now are individuals who share information. I mean, a trusted newspaper would destroy everybody else.
Yeah.
More than just facts. Dive into the stories. Why isn't there a Daily Journal podcast? I want to know what your journalists have to say. I want to know what happens in the... The audio software hit the time limit. Thank you guys for watching me test everything. I believe all the final bugs have been worked out, and real episodes will be posted soon.